Hey, what up guys? Welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to talk about whether it's too late to invest in Bitcoin. And this video is primarily for people who are very new to cryptocurrencies, very new to Bitcoin. And maybe you've just read that Bitcoin has crossed $3,000. Maybe you've read some article on Bitcoin just recently and you're thinking of investing, but you're not really sure if you have already missed the boat. Because I think that is the number one question people have when they hear about Bitcoin and they see the price and they are blown away by the bull run we've just had. Because that was exactly how I felt when I first learned about Bitcoin back in high school. And I saw this amazing chart and the Bitcoin back then made the bull run to 1,000 US dollars, and then it crashed directly afterwards. But so I think it's a very common question, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Before we start, I want to mention that this is not investment advice. If you're interested in my personal unprofessional opinion, you should watch this video. This video is for you. But if you're looking for professional advice, you should hire someone who is a professional. Always do not invest more than you are ready to lose, and always make your own research. So guys, that being said, also I have to mention that someday this week we are going to do a live stream where we will code a cryptocurrency application on iOS. So we will do an app for iOS. This week I did an app which just displayed the price of Bitcoin. I think I want to make a live stream where we together make something more complex. Maybe we can make an app like this website, for example, where we have a list of cryptocurrencies and then we display the prices for each cryptocurrency. I'm not sure guys, but leave your suggestions in the comment section below. If you have cryptocurrency app ideas, if you have been thinking about a blockchain app idea, leave it in the comment section below if you're comfortable sharing it, and we might develop it together on the live stream this week. So that being said guys, let's talk about whether it's too late to invest. Before we do that though, I think it's important to understand why we've had this amazing bull run up to $3,200 and even higher right now. I think there are three reasons. So let's talk about why we reached this amazing price, and then we'll talk about whether it's too late. So there are three reasons, in my view, why we have reached this price. Reason number one is that we have a consensus in the main Bitcoin community. As you can see, we have two Bitcoins. We will come to that. But in the main Bitcoin community, we have finally reached a consensus on how we are going to scale Bitcoin. And we will do that by implementing SegWit. If you're completely new, I have to mention that in the Bitcoin sphere, we've had a scaling issue for several years now. That means that the Bitcoin network is not able to handle all of the transactions smoothly anymore. There are just too many transactions, so many people are using it, and something needs to be done in order to fix this issue. And several proposals were created. So one proposal is SegWit, another proposal is just increase the block size of each block so that more transactions can fit in each block that is mined. And so Bitcoin Core team, the main Bitcoin team, have proposed SegWit as their solution. And we as a cryptocurrency community, or more correctly, in the Bitcoin community, we have agreed that yes, we will do SegWit. And this is after several years of debate whether SegWit is good or bad. So we finally agreed that SegWit is the way to go. And this removed much of the uncertainty, because during these years, people were uncertain whether Bitcoin is even will be able to scale. Will we reach a consensus, or will we just continue having this network which can't really handle all of the transactions? And so the fact that we have reached a consensus is one of the driving factors behind this price rise, in my personal opinion, guys. So that is reason number one. Reason number two is Bitcoin Cash. I will explain why. So the Bitcoin community have decided that they will do SegWit. However, not everyone in that community agreed. Some people wanted to instead increase the block size, and that is how Bitcoin Cash was created. Bitcoin Cash is a hard fork of Bitcoin, and now it's a separate coin, but if you held some kind of Bitcoin, some number of Bitcoins before and before the hard fork, which happened on August the 1st, you hold an equal number of Bitcoin Cash if you control your own private keys. So Bitcoin Cash forked, and once again, until the fork happened, there was a lot of uncertainty around whether this new Bitcoin will replace our normal Bitcoin, whether Bitcoin Cash would become so popular that it would replace Bitcoin as the biggest Bitcoin, so to speak, as the largest Bitcoin. And many people were worried that the price of the real Bitcoin might drop significantly after this Bitcoin Cash fork, because people would switch to Bitcoin Cash and not use Bitcoin anymore. So when the fork actually happened, we saw that the Bitcoin price didn't react at all. It was very stable around 2700, and so because Bitcoin did not crash after the Bitcoin Cash fork, I think it gave people confidence that Bitcoin will remain the main Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin Cash will not replace it on the throne, on the top, so to speak. So this combination of reason number one, being that we have reached a consensus on scaling, and reason number two, the fact that Bitcoin Cash didn't crash the price of Bitcoin, and this uncertainty surrounding Bitcoin Cash disappeared. I think those two reasons together gave a very good boost to the Bitcoin price, because now we're certain that Bitcoin is going to implement this scaling solution, and now we're certain that Bitcoin Cash will not crash Bitcoin in the short term at least. And the final reasons why I think we reach this high price is that mainstream media always writes something about Bitcoin whenever we reach a milestone. So when we reached $3,000, there were several articles published on Bitcoin and Bitcoin breaking $3,000. And with each such article, with each such wave of news, people are learning about Bitcoin more and more. People who normally wouldn't learn about these technologies. For example, I have many friends on Facebook who usually are not interested in these kinds of things. But so suddenly, just a couple of days ago, I saw one of my friends like Coinbase on Facebook. So she liked their page, and I was very shocked because I didn't know she was into this at all. So I think more and more people are learning about this, because each milestone creates news. For example, $3,000 is a huge milestone. $2,000 was also a huge milestone. So after each such milestone, many more people are learning about this, and much more money is being invested in cryptocurrencies. So like, for example, my friend that liked Coinbase, I assume she bought some kind of cryptocurrency on Coinbase, either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. So whenever we have mainstream news talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I think we see more new money flooding into the market and pushing the prices. So now we have talked about the three reasons why I think we reached this price. Now let's talk about whether it's too late to invest. And I have to mention once again, this is not investment advice. Always do your own research. Do not take this too seriously. But in my personal view, I think it depends on how you're thinking. If you're thinking long term or short term. If you are thinking short term, I think you cannot be sure about anything. I mean, this price of 3,200, it can easily drop to 2,000 or 1,800 or even lower, because we have these amazing price swings in the cryptocurrency sphere, and if you are interested in cryptocurrencies, I think you really should be comfortable with the fact that this price can drop by 40%, it can rise by 30% any day. I mean, if we just look at the 24-hour changes, for example, Bitcoin Cash plus 27%, NEO plus 30%, Waves plus 25%. So as you can see, guys, it's very, very forceful movements up and down, up and down. So in the short term, anything can happen. For example, Ethereum was worth $400 just a couple of weeks ago, and then it crashed to 200, so 50% was just disappeared, and now it's back to 264. And so this is just an example. It can crash by 50% and then slowly go back up, or it can suddenly go up with 30%. So in the short term, I think no one can tell you what the price will be tomorrow. I know there are channels who are doing technical analysis. I think they are very interesting. I watch some of them myself, but I don't think they are able to predict these amazing fluctuations. I'm not an expert in technical analysis and I'm still learning, but I'm not sure it's easy. Of course, it's not easy, but maybe some people are making money with technical analysis in the short term. But I think thinking long term is a lot easier for the majority of us. And in the long term, I am in fact very, very bullish when it comes to Bitcoin and all of these established cryptocurrencies. I think that these small cryptocurrencies and tokens based on Ethereum, they can disappear next year. However, and I have made a video on that, actually, you can take a look. I think many of these tokens will be gone in just a couple of years. There are just so many ICOs, so many tokens, all of them cannot survive. However, Bitcoin, for example, or Ethereum, I think there is a bright future. This is my gut feeling. Of course, I have no idea in reality, but I have a gut feeling that they will be very, very huge, especially Bitcoin, because Ethereum is this fuel for Ether, which is the coin traded, is this fuel for smart contracts, and that is a more risky experiment. We're not sure they are going to be used as intended. For example, currently the main use of Ethereum smart contracts is ICOs, and I don't think Ethereum was designed for only that reason. So we still have to see whether it's going to be used for something else as well. But I think Bitcoin has really proven itself by now that it works as a for transferring and storing value, money. So I think we will see more and more Bitcoin adoption. And if you live in the US or if you live in Western Europe, I think it's harder for people to understand the value proposition. For example, if you tell someone from Venezuela or from some other chaotic country, for example, from Belarus, where my family is from originally, it's much easier to explain Bitcoin and the value of cryptocurrencies to people in those countries because they have experienced hyperinflation, they have experienced corruption, and by having a currency that is decentralized and that is not somehow tied to their government, it's so valuable for those people. And if we see some kind of major financial crash in the US or in Europe, that idea might come to people here as well. For example, in Sweden, it's for me living in Sweden, it's hard to convince people still because the system has worked pretty well and people haven't experienced some kind of crazy inflation yet. But we don't know what will happen in 10 years, in 5 or 10 years. And one solution to this issue with hyperinflation has been real estate. So people in, for example, Venezuela, they can buy a house, and if the currency drops, they still can sell their house and retain value. However, in corrupt countries such as Belarus or Venezuela, or Russia, for example, I think real estate is not that good of solution, because the government or local government can still take it from you if they really want. So keeping that in mind, I think cryptocurrencies is a much better solution for those people, and that is why cryptocurrencies are so popular in these countries. For example, local governments can take their houses, but they cannot guess their private key. So if you keep your private key safe, if you memorize your phrase for your wallet, there is really no way for anyone to force you to give up your funds. And so that is why I think cryptocurrencies are getting so much adoption in these countries that are corrupt and where people don't really trust the banks or the government. While in Western Europe, for example in Sweden, where people have good trust in institutions, it's still hard to explain the value proposition of cryptocurrencies, and in the US as well. However, if we see some kind of financial collapse, it might very well happen that people will understand this more and more. And looking at this price and keeping in mind that things can happen to the dollar, also if we keep in mind the inflation, I mean this number can just rise in the long term. And so in the long term, I really think that cryptocurrencies will be a part of the future economy, and therefore I, as a 20-year-old, for example, I just have to have some kind of money in cryptocurrencies and bet on that future. I have a gut feeling that this is where we are heading, that everyone will understand the value proposition of cryptocurrencies, and maybe in 50 years we will look back at the current fiat system and just think these people back in the days were just insane, having all their value and all their hard-earned money in fiat currencies, where the inflation can just eat all of the money from your pockets. And people in Venezuela, people in Belarus are very, very much aware of that. However, people in Sweden, people in the US, I'm not sure are on the same page yet. But with time and with experience, I think people will learn. So that is my bet for the future, and why I'm so confident in the fact that Bitcoin will gain more and more traction, more and more value, and the same for other currencies as well. They will follow Bitcoin in their development. So is it worth investing in Bitcoin still in the short term? If you're thinking about the short term, I have really no idea. It can go up by a lot, it can crash and then go up. But in the long term, I definitely think, guys, that cryptocurrencies is the future. Do you agree? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And finally, I want to say once again, do not take this too seriously. This is not investment advice. Always do your own research. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And if you are a new viewer and you like blockchain, technology, cryptocurrencies, Ethereum, Bitcoin, you should definitely subscribe to this channel, because you will find this channel interesting. I myself am a software developer, and I'll see you guys next time.